So when it comes to the pass optimal GPP winning lineups, why we look at it is just try to find some trends or some common lineup builds. You know, if you follow this channel long enough, you probably already know the jingle, right? It's 10, 9, 8, 7, 7, 6. Start there. Start with a 10K golfer, a 9K golfer, an 8K golfer, 2 7s, and a 6. This week is a bit unique because we have 5K golfers, and then we have like 7 golfers that are in the 10K and above range. So it makes lineup building very unique, and not something we've really seen. I think in 2017 here, do I have a 5K? We do not have 5K salaries in 2017. I do remember playing the Masters when they did have 5K salaries. So I just have salaries from the Open Championship 2017 and on. So let's go ahead and let's talk about 2017. Now, this might look a little different than usual because I tend to include, or I include every single year, the European events in here as well, because we're going to get a bunch of European golfers. So I cover this up because it's noisy. These are technically your last week tournament, or the tournaments that happened the week before. Anyways, when we talk about pass optimal and GPP winning lineups, we just focus on the salaries. So your optimal lineup used 49,200, left $800 on the table. It used an 11K Jordan Spieth. Basically, look at all the golfers here with the black tick marks. That's your optimal lineup, guys. So Jordan Spieth 11.6, Rory McIlroy at 11,000. So 2 11K golfers and above. That's interesting because this week it feels like we can do the exact same thing. And then we have a $7,200 golfer and 3 6K golfers. That's unheard of. Like, that's really difficult to get. I mean, I've never really seen lineup builds like this. And if we were to analyze pass optimal lineups, this is probably the first or maybe one of very few times where a lineup like this has been in the optimal lineup. I still will advocate start 10, 9, 8, 7, 7, 6. But here we go 11, 11, 7, and then 3 6s, which is crazy. Now, following that 10, 9, 8, 7, 7, 6, I have the Sweet Spot Optimal here. This is a different Sweet Spot Optimal than I usually do. This was just finding 6 golfers inside the top 10 that follow the 10, 9, 8, 7, 7, 6 model. I couldn't tell you what the points are compared to the optimal, but having all 6 of your golfers inside the top 10 is going to ensure you take down a GPP. So that's 2017. In 2018, we use 49,700 to get to our optimal lineup, and this one uses a 10K golfer, 8K, 8K, 7, 7, 6. So it basically starts the 10, 9, 8, 7, 7, 6 base. But like I've said in previous videos, you can make up to 2 substitutions. I forgot to mention that earlier when I, said, hey, usually we start here, but you can make up to 2 substitutions. And what that would look like would be just as you see here. There's no 9K. So you can make one. We made one substitution. We actually subbed a 9K down to an 8K, and that gave us 2 8Ks. So it's a 10K, 8K, 8K, 7, 7, 6. So that follows pretty closely. It looks like I have created a different lineup, just messing around, but it basically follows the same thing. You can see it's an 11K golfer with Rory, 8K, 8K, 7, 7, 6. This equals 49,900. So you could either leave $200 on the table, or you could leave $100 on the table, and you're still going to get pretty much 6 golfers inside. You'll get 6 golfers inside the top 10. So keep that in mind. In 2019, let me go ahead again and hide some of this information. Again, it's noisy. Our optimal lineup left $400 on the table, so we used up 49,600, and we did not start with an 11K. I was like, oh, we started with one. We did not. $9,700 Fleetwood, $9,300 Fowler. Then we were $7,500 Willett, $7,400 Lee Westwood, $7,800 Finau, and $7,900 Shane Lowry. So this one made more than 2 substitutions. because we go 9, 9, and then 4 7s. So we could say, oh, 10 to a 9, perfect. But then we also subbed an 8 down to a 7 and then a 6 up to a 7. So that was 3 substitution. Very rarely does what I advocate not work. So this would be one of those times where the optimal lineup did not have, the 10, 9, 8, 7, 7, 6 start with 2 substitutions. This had 3 of them. Your GPP winning lineup started with an 11K golfer, 9K, 7, 7, 7. So 5 golfers inside the top 11. And then we scroll down a little bit to get to our last guy who was $6,400. So they kind of went with the 10, 9, 8, 7, 7, 6, but they are missing an 8K golfer. So they had a third 7K. So that was a 10, 9, 7, 7, 7, 6. Which, again, that is more common. That was your Millie Maker winning lineup. So that scored 532.5. The optimal scored 568. So there was definitely room for improvement. Maybe instead of, let's see here. I'm not going to try to figure out like a better build. I should have done that beforehand, but I won't waste your time. I'm sure you can see on the screen there are other ways to get there. In 2021, our optimal lineup left $1,500 on the table, so we used up $48,500, and that lineup started 9K, 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 6, 6, 7. Very, very rare. In fact, I normally just look for 6 golfers to finish inside the top 10. Brian Harmon scored 82.5 points in 19th place. Couldn't tell you how he did it, but he was one of the higher scores, and that's why he's in the optimal. That's why you don't see 6 golfers inside the top 10. But if we wanted like 6 golfers inside the top 10, that's where this realistic optimal comes into play, where we leave $400 on the table. And then we have Spieth, or 92, 97, 93, 8, 6, 6. So that also isn't really doing 2 substitutions, which kind of, coming into this event, I thought it was just going to be odd anyways, because it's the Open Championship. We're including European golfers who've qualified for this event. PGA Tour golfers are flying from America over to Europe, and it's just out of the ordinary. So maybe lineup building needs to be out of the ordinary as well. So far, we've gone through 4 years of pass optimal and GPP winning lineups. 2 of those years did not follow those sweet spot rules, or let's just call it the groundwork or the foundation. We didn't start with a 10, 9, 8, 7, 7, 6. And even if we did, we made more than 2 substitutions. So this one had 3 9s, 3 9s, 2 6s, and a 7, or 2 6s and an 8. Your Millie Maker winning lineup, though, it didn't use 3 9Ks. 1 7, 2 7s, 3 7s. There you go. So 3 9s and 3 7s. That was your Millie Maker winning lineup. It scored 578.5. These other ones, a little bit more. Actually, that's pretty close. 578 to 592. So the optimal scored 592. Your Millie scored 578, and that more realistic scored 584. So definitely more ways to get it done. And I'm sure there's still room to beat that Millie Maker lineup or get really close to the optimal. Leaving $1,500 on the table, I don't advocate for that. That's pretty difficult to do. So, oh man, so far it's been very weird going through this. Let me go ahead and hide all this again. Again, it's just to remove clutter. Optimal lineup for 2022 left $100 on the table. It scored 660.5 points, and it started with a 9K Cam Smith, $7,800 Cam Young, 9,000 Hovland, 8,600 Fleetwood, 69 Harmon, and 8,100 DeChambeau. So just to recap, that's 2 9s, 1 8, or I'm sorry, 2 9s, 2 8s, 1 7, and 1 6. Now this actually does follow the 10 9 8 7 7 6 with 2 substitutions. If you think about it, we sub one of the 10s down to a 9, and then we sub one of the 7s up to an 8, and that's how you get 2 9s, 2 8s, a 7, and a 6. So that follows the process with 2 substitutions. Your GPP winning lineup left $100 on the table. It scored 631. So there's about 30, yeah, almost 30 points between the two. That used an 11K Rory McIlroy, $9,500 Cam Smith, $7,800 Cam Young, $8,100 Bryson DeChambeau. Come down to two 6Ks in Thomas Dietrich and Chris Kirk. So that's kind of the first time we've seen something like that. 10-9-8-7-6-6. Again, that still follows the 10-9-8-7-7-6 approach with two substitution. We only have to make one with this lineup. One of the sevens goes down to a 6, but we have our 10-9-8-7 start, and then we get two 6s instead of two 7s and a 6. So many different ways to get it done. Again, I kind of feel like this is an odd week, so we probably have to treat it as such. And honestly, when it comes to the salaries in 2023, again, let me hide some of this. It looks so messy when it looks this way. It's just different. Like, we start at the $5,900 range. Again, there was 52 golfers, or what was it? Yeah, 52 golfers in the 5K range. $5,900 and less. We still have our low 6Ks, by the way. We still have we have 25 what I would deem low 6K golfers. And that actually takes away from our high 6K golfers of 22. So I think what I'm going to do, I'll have to update this for tomorrow. I don't think it's really going to change anything. When it comes to like the summary, when we talk about the salaries, which again, I'll be doing later, you can see there's 77 low 6K golfers and only 22 high 6Ks. I imagine what I'm going to do is just make this the 6K range and make this the 5K range and just leave it at that. Actually, I don't think I can do that because then I'd have 0 stats and I need stats. I'm going to leave it like this, I guess. And that's fine. Honestly, that's fine. I'm not one of those that's going to use two 5K golfers. I'm sure there, a lot of people out there touting, doing 2 10s and 2 5s are a viable start. I don't think that's where I'm going to go when it comes to lineup building. But yeah, this week is definitely very different. I will be very intrigued to see how many 5K golfers find themselves inside the top 10. Maybe that's one of the talking points we can do with comments. If you want to participate and get yourself a free entry into the giveaway, give me your 2 favorite, or give me a favorite 5K, or let's put it this way. Tell me, are you going to play 2 5Ks in any of your lineups? So together, 2 5Ks together in any of your lineups. And then that way you can get a free entry, whether you're watching the preview, the entire preview, or if you're just watching the segment. Let me know. I would be interested to see how many people are going to play 2 5Ks in a lineup. Like I said, I'm probably not going to. I'll probably do 1 6K and maybe one 5K. We'll see. We'll see how it goes, because I think we can build lineups. I don't even know if we have to get down that far, but definitely for unique lineup building, it might be a must. We might have to. Okay, so that covers pass optimal and GPP winning lineups.